All right, kids, we're back. It's me and Austin.
Good morning.
And you might notice we got some metal detectors with us today. We're gonna leave Beekman right there, say don't get stolen. And we're going back into the reservoir, the Ashokan Reservoir, where we were about a month ago because it's got record low water. And last time we were here, we did a video on all the spikes and the ballast and the coal and the plates that Austin's found over the years. And today we're going to pick up where we left off. We're going to walk the construction alignment railroad bed on up to where it ties into the current modern day Ashokan Rail Trail, which was, up until 10 years ago, the relocated Ulster and Delaware realignment. So, you ready?
Yes, sir.
Let's go. When they relocated the lost villages and hamlets down in this Esopus Valley between 1907 and 1915-ish, when they built the reservoir, there were 504 dwellings or houses and a total of 1,500 buildings, which basically comprise things like barns and sheds and sawmills and stores, hotels, churches, schools, that sort of thing. Railroad stations. How could I forget that? The more macabre part of it were there were about 2,600 or so bodies that had to be dug up and reinterred up on higher ground in a total of 40 cemeteries. The Board of Water Supply for New York City, actually back then they paid $15 per body that they moved and $3 for each headstone. Hey, we're back at the boat. The Queen Mary, the Edmund Fitzgerald, the Kiwi, and the SS Minnow. Yep. There were roughly 13 or 14 miles of original grade Ulster and Delaware Railroad trackage that was tore up and relocated to higher ground by the New York City Water Department, which is currently DEP. And a little known fact that we're trying to drive home to certain politicians, when they did that around 1900, it was a permanent, for railroad use only, easement. So keep that in mind, kids. Got some DEP officers out there. We'll see if they harass us or not. If they do, we'll very nicely leave. So we're getting there. We're beyond where the boats are stored. We are actually on now the construction grade corridor of the construction company grade here. Out there in the water would have been the original U&D grade, and way up yonder, probably half mile or so from here,
Just about, yes.
yeah, is the Ashokan Rail Trail, which was the relocated U&D. So I just asked Austin, who's been in here. He basically lives in these woods. This is his stomping ground. This is his exploration archaeological dig find.
Yes, sir.
And I said, hey, have you ever seen any evidence of any telegraph poles on here? Because we have quite a few large contingency of telegraph pole folks that watch this channel. So have you ever found anything like that, or no?
That would be a negative.
Oh.
So as far as I know for this line, it had to have existed for at least 2 or 3 years, the max. Considering the fact it was a construction grade, it wasn't meant to be a permanent rail line. So, which is surprising, because the hamlet of the reservoir, you would think you'd want telephone connection to there, the little towns and whatnot, but as far as I have discovered, we have no telegraph lines on this rail bed.
Okay, so that kind of makes sense. The telegraph poles possibly and probably would have been more so on maybe a vehicular road instead of the railroad.
Yes.
So that makes sense. So there you have it. You know, you can't beat a local guy like Austin, who's been in here and who's delved into every possible connection to the past and the future with these lines back here. And we're now getting up into the woods. We are raising slightly grade-wise off the water level. The water has come in quite a bit from the time we were here last. It's come up quite a bit. Still low, but we're going to continue. And we got some cool stuff coming up. So as we're coming in here, we're talking about old home sites. The roadbed curves up around and then it feeds back to where it was. Austin came up with an absolutely believable scenario. He said the only reason he can see where they would have curved the railroad bed around something is if an old house site was there, or a piece of property with old Mrs. Johnson, a holdout. I'm not giving up, you know, when they pry this from my dead cold hands. We found this beautiful old majestic old growth oak, and look at what else we found. We've got us a bona fide, genuine dump. That's an old coal scuttle, part of an old barrel stove right there. Somebody also has been finding some surface finds here. So Austin, I think you nailed it again. I think this could have been I like to spin yarns in life, you know, maybe make up a story or two, but sometimes there's believability in it. This old natural growth oak here is so out of place because there are no others around anywhere. This was probably a home site, as evidenced with surface finds, and I'm sure if we dug down we would find the dump, and we would find more, and possibly some unbroken bottles. So Austin, you nailed it again, brother.
On the money.
See that? That's the bottom of a bottle. And what it is J.W. Beardsley's Sons. This one says New York, USA. But J.W. Beardsley's was a codfish oil and flaked codfish distributor of products that ended up here at the Ashokan to the people that lived here. This is their dump. You can see we've been digging. We found a bunch more stuff. Simple, common folks did not live above their means, and they had very simple white china, no decorations. The most decorative thing we found was that old cream pitcher there. That's a diamond that's part of an oil lamp, and they had just basic china. So far we've found things here that date from approximately the 1880s to about 1920s. Very much in keeping with this project we're on today, the building of the reservoir between 1907 and 1915. Hold it. So the sun, Austin's got himself a cool find. You kids know what that is. That's a 1924 right there below, New York, 1924. There you go. The one is boogered, but there's the 9, the 2, and the 4. He found himself a New York 1924 license plate.
That's incredible.
Let's go. All right, we just dug up right there, about 5 inches down, this piece of lead. We're gonna throw this in the what's it corner. Lead, old, melted, no idea. What's it? What you got there, buddy?
Got ourselves a heel block from a railroad switch.
Yeah, or flip it upside down for a minute. Yep,
Or something more.
It's not the end of a shovel.
No.
That is a piece of coal right there, my friend.
Yes, sir.
That is early. And that is railroad. And we might have a couple of rivets right here and right here. So what you do is you take this out of here, you get it out of the way, you stand back up and get your detector and go back over that and tell me if you get anything else. You might get some residual from the rust particles, the rusticles. But unless you're getting a distinct beep, 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 we got it.
Negative, that was it.
That was it. All right. Show no trace. So here you go, folks. Right here on the construction grade Ashokan Railroad. What'd you call it? A switch?
This is a switch heel block.
A switch heel block. And it's got that very distinct turn on it right there.
That's where your spikes would go.
Yep.
And this would go into the web of the rail.
That's very old, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Turn of the century.
At least.
This is iron. It's not, or this is steel. This is not wrought. So this is right in keeping, because it's probably post 1900, 1899, 1900, which construction grade was between 1907 and 1915.
That same time period.
Brother, you found one. Let's leave it here. We'll pick it up on the way back. Right, so Austin, tell me what you did. You found it?
Well, we're scanning here, and we got a strong signal. It's saying it's roughly within this patch of dirt right here, so we're gonna dig with our bare hands and see if we can find it.
And you pinpointed it, and it's right there. You started scratching around. I said, it's a very, very distinct pinpointed target. It's reading about 28 to 30, so I know it's iron. We know we're on the rail bed.
Yes.
I want to get this one on film, so scratch around, man. Austin's excited. This is your first time metal what is that, a rock?
Oh, what do we got here? Wait a minute.
It's a rock.
Nope.
You can dig. Oh.
Look at that. Genuine railroad artifact right there.
This is your second target in your whole life that you've ever found.
Second time.
How awesome. Well, we told you in the last video we were going to do this, and here we are. We're getting down on battery power here. We got a second one back in the truck. My left knee is out today, so the least amount of walking I can do, the better. So we may not be filming a lot today, but we're only going to film the cool stuff, right?
Indeed.
Like license plates, bottle dumps, and railroad tie spikes. All right, kids. Got another one, guys.
There we go.
That one was a little bit deeper, right?
Yes, sir.
That was about 4 inches down.
Yeah, about 4 to 6, but
But you got to think that's in keeping, because by probably 15 through 18, these rails were all ripped up, and that's you know, almost 100 years of over 100 years worth of sediment, leaves, debris, compost. So yeah, he's got another one. We're gonna find some more. Cool. We stopped here at this big white oak. I got a hit right there.
another one.
Found another one.
Another one.
The bed is right here. So this white oak, I'm going to guess, was here as a sapling when this rail bed was constructed. Quite a few larger ones in here, nowhere near as big as that red that we saw earlier, but we've only gone halfway around this tree. I'm going to do the rest. So Austin just told me a story off camera, and I said, hold that thought, let's get this story, because as a track worker, you got to hear it from him.
So guys, if you look at this spike here, you can tell it's bent, right? And the head of it has been chipped away. Now, from my experience from working with the railroad, at the railroad, you go through all sorts of mishaps. When you pull out a spike, you know, depending on how soft the metal is, it will bend like this. If you're going to put the spike into the tie, rather if you're hitting it, if you are hitting it with a hammer, you may chip the head of it. You know, you might bang it up a little bit. So, relating back to me, as a track worker, you know, you find all sorts of mishap spikes that have stories to them. Whether it was, if it's bent like this, that means somebody struggled to pull it out. If it's chipped on the head, that means they had a really fun time getting it into the tie. So every spike, regardless of what it looks like, has a story to be told. Whether it be a long or short story, it always has a story to be told.
Most of the time it's me telling the grandkids a bedtime story, usually scary ones. This time it's a spike. Kids, you gotta look around. Everything out in nature, in the natural world, has a story to tell you. You just have to know where to look and what to look for.
Always.
Way back, Mr. Finger, way back there is where we found that last curved spike that Austin so very eloquently and very descriptively told us the story of that spike. We've been walking north to northeasterly since then. I'm going to turn around and show you the grade. We are on a fill section right here. This was lowland, so this has been a fill section. And Austin told me, when we get down to a certain spot, I want you to look. This is an uphill grade. So where we found that last curved storytelling spike, Austin explained to us, was about an apex of the grade. We have been coming down since then, and in order to get from where we were by the boats to that spot, we were going upgrade away from the reservoir.
And
so,
of this grade itself, where we just were in that curve is probably the highest point on this little branch line.
yeah,
And then from here out, it just keeps descending, descending, until you reach the Ulster and Delaware.
yeah. So the Ulster and Delaware realigned track, currently the Ashokan Rail Trail, is right up ahead. We have to slightly curve and then slightly turn to the right, so we go in on a tangent to connect to the ART. That's a bulb holder of a light bracket, and I'm gonna say windshield frames. Yep. I'm gonna say, oh, look at this. Yeah, I'm gonna say windshield frames from, there's the opposite piece right there. Windshield frames from a 30s vehicle. Cool. We're turning now to switch into the Ashokan Rail Trail. Austin's got something. Let's go see. Chunks of coal. That's what he was digging up. Almost as if they had a derail here. Oh my gosh! Would you look at these sizes? Austin, put your hand there.
That's a behemoth.
Oh my gosh. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if they had a derail here and a rollover. And the tender flipped.
That would make sense.
They would not waste. This is valuable coal. They would not have wasted this.
Unless if the
awesome.
derail took place at the same time they were abandoning the line.
Yeah.
At that point, they just said, all right, guys, leave it there and head out.
Yep, yep. Anything else in this pile or just coal?
Just coal. All the coal that you could ever need.
That.
Right here.
I tell you what, I've been doing this a while. That's the biggest chunk of coal that I have found on a lost and abandoned railroad bed. It's got to be almost a foot long, 4 inches thick, 5 inches thick that way. That's a chunker. You're something else, Austin. So around that tree by the shovel is the small pile of coal. Over there is the big chunks of coal. John Anderson sang in one of his songs, "I'm just an old chunk of coal." There they are. And if you notice, we got a spike or two sitting on top of them that we found right there. And Austin just found and dug up a headless spike. You guys know about the headless horseman. We found a headless spike. So there was we're presuming, and sometimes we hypothesize and presume and assume and guess, but there could have been a mishap here. We're maybe not going so far as to say a rollover or a derail, but something happened here. There are broken pieces all over the place and large chunks of coal that would not have been discarded if still necessary. So something happened here. Are we going to dig up the remains of an old truck?
You never know.
With an axle set?
You never know.
Maybe. Probably not.
The mystery is there, folks. The mystery is there.
But going forward here, we're almost to the Ashokan Rail Trail, aka realignment of the Ulster and Delaware. So, and we are on a curve, a slight curve. So let's keep going. Kind of tough to tell, but maybe you guys can. On your left there are the white pines, and on your right here are all the brambles and prickers, actually barberries. Austin came in here, we'll say, on his own time, and he used a pair of loppers to clear this off just so we could come in here and film this for you guys.
And it only took an hour.
It took an hour. This kid's incredible. Oh man. In your comments, remember our buddy Austin for making this video possible. We are on the easterly curve now. A beautiful curve radius here as we're nearing the current modern day Ashokan Rail Trail, Ulster and Delaware realignment. So this is, and we're still on a fill section. We're still on a fill. They traversed through a swamp here. Look at the tight turn. You can tell they had little 040s and 060s. I don't think shays, but definitely tight curves. And you can tell we're kind of coming now out of the swampy area into more taller trees, more wooded. We haven't found a bear yet. Here's a culvert. This is the remnants of a culvert right here, Austin.
Yes, sir.
Look at that. That's a culvert. That's an original construction grade.
And that was probably old stonework to where there wasn't no pipe, no nothing, just rocks placed the right way.
Yeah.
To have enough room for water to pass underneath, and if it lasted, it lasted. If it didn't, it collapsed.
Hey, it only had to last 8 to 10 years.
Only a few years, so.
And it did.
Temporary construction.
Yep. Let's see what's on the other side. Yeah, there's what's left right there and right there, where it went into that lowland. Cool stuff, man. So you guys and gals that have been out walking the woods and exploring and getting off your comfy chairs, you guys and gals know that instincts are everything. So in between that short clip we just shot explaining how Austin came out and chopped all that foliage down so we could get out here, and now he told me a little story about this pile of stones, and we're going to have him relay that story on film here because it is, number one, very interesting, number two, more than likely very factual, and number three, just yet another cool example of how cool this guy is, that he knows all this stuff. Austin, what is that pile of stones?
So these pile of stones, I believe, are marking animal grave sites. A good example of this would be in Phoenicia, New York. There is a park, which the name of it is escaping my mind at the moment, but there's a park to where there's a mountainside right in the town of Phoenicia, and if you go up that mountain, a lot of old logging roads are upon that mountain to where they would have mined out slate, a lot of rock that went into sidewalks, structures of buildings, foundations and whatnot. Bluestone. And a lot of, back then, you can imagine, they didn't have cars or trucks, so they had horses and wagons. So back then, these grades on these, mountainsides were really steep. And as you can imagine, accidents occurred. A wagon got away, horses got ran over, killed in the process. So these stone structures and or piles of stones are marking where an animal had died from an accident. These are horse grave sites.
Wow. And yet further evidence, come down here, my friend. How long ago did you find this second thing we're going to show?
This was about 2 winters ago.
So a couple years ago, he's out here rooting around and digging around, and he found this iron wheel for a cart, for a wagon.
Which, for those of you that don't know, this would go around a gigantic wooden wheel.
Yeah.
The wheels were made out of wood, and then for the wheel to last, because, you know, wood, if it's being driven over rocks or stone, it's going to be chewed up, torn apart. So to, you know, cure that, you're going to put a big piece of steel around it to make your wheel, last a lot longer.
Yeah.
So this was a wagon wheel. What would you call this?
It's actually, some folks call them, that's the tire itself.
The tire,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah. So this is so fitting that you chose to, that number one, you found it out here. Number two, you put it on this rock, almost paying homage to the possible horse that's buried there, or mule. And this is the wagon he could have been pulling. And we've got another mound over here that looks man-made. Let's go check that out. So the pile of stones over there, the alleged horse grave, and the iron rim wheel tire from the wagon is over there. There's a noticeable large stone wall there, and another one right there leading to this big pile of stone here. Here, take this camera and show us the downhill side.
What we have is an actual stone wall right here, built up for whatever reason, but this is all stone, and mind you, without mortar.
100% man-made. This is a almost, like you said before off camera, almost a loading zone or a dumping zone to get rid of the stones that they popped out when they made the grade.
Discarded.
And these are just discarded. This is just a pile. I'm telling you, this is a solid pile of stone. It's got humus and compost and leaves and dust and dirt over the centuries, but this is a solid pile of stone, discarded here, dumped here by the hands of man for a particular reason. We don't know. By the way, the grade, construction grade we've been walking is right there. We are almost to, I would take it that those orange markers is the rail trail.
It's actually further than those orange
markers.
It
is?
Those are recent DEP activity.
Okay. I was hoping that would be it. My knee is really bad.
We're not that much further from
okay,
it.
Buddy.
We're close.
Okay.
We're close.
Back there is old Blue's burial ground. We're coming into a cut here. And we're almost there. And there's something really cool right up there. Guess who found all this stuff last year? Another heel block, really delaminating, a bunch of nuts, kind of like that one and this one, a joint bar, and a wrought iron spike that is delaminating. Look at that. Tiny, teeny tiny. That is maybe 5 inches, 6 inches tops. Just to give you a reference. Okay. That's a 1900s steel spike. That's earlier wrought. And where is it? Right there?
Yes.
Right back there. Stand by. We're going in. Rail grade continues, the one we've been walking on. That's the cut we just came through. There's Austin's pile of stash that he's found, a little wrought spike. This giant wall, and I mean giant. It's a couple 100 feet long. Austin said it ends up there. Back here is a massive stone wall of a building that was there. This, I'm assuming, appears to be a ramp or a set of stairs that the rails would have stopped a train here and walked back to that building for some reason. Let's go see if we can decipher what that building was. Big stone wall there we just pointed out. Austin's pile of stash up there. We came down and look at this. Look at this. This is not dry laid. You're right, Austin. This has got mortar. So this would be period correct to turn of the century. Cement was just coming to be. And we have two very interesting openings here and over there, and we do have some bricks. We'll see if we can get some names off these bricks.
And also you can see they use wood right underneath to support that structure being there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's the sill plate. Let's see if we can get some identifying names off of these bricks. No, I didn't think so. A lot of times they use no-name bricks in the construction of utilitarian type buildings, but they're nice bricks nonetheless. As far as bricks go, can we get in this building, Austin, to the other side?
Yes, but this is the only standing part of it.
Okay, but we can get to the other side of this, right?
We can, yes.
Okay, that's what we're gonna do. Sneaky snakes are all bedded down for the winter right now. Today is November, what's today?
Today would be, let me check the old cellular phone.
23rd?
24th.
24th, 2025. We have the joy of experiencing a beautiful, I bet it's upper 40s. There's an opening there. There's an opening there. Right there. This was perhaps, I think, Austin, maybe, you're right, some sort of a pump house. Oh, no, I'll tell you what that is.
Chimney mantle.
That's the remains of a chimney. That's where the mantle would have been. That's the remains of the chimney right there from this building. What was this building? Clearly, those were basement windows. The two holes that we saw just a moment ago in the last clip.
Which, if you actually look where the chimney is, you can see the wood floor, the wood in the wall to where it would have separated the basement amongst the top floor.
You sure can. What was this building? Was it built during the construction of the reservoir, 1907 and 1915? The fact that it's mortared, it's wet jointed, tells me yes. But what was it? Some sort of a pump house for something? There are a couple. There's one video that's on YouTube right now. It was made by a gentleman from the Hudson River Maritime Museum in Kingston. It is probably one of the most in-depth videos available to watch on the building of the Ashokan Reservoir. Perhaps this building is shown in some of the pictures. I will reference that video as well as a book, The Last of the Great Handmade Dams, something to that effect. I'll have the exact names when I get back to my notes. Loving stonework. I'm in awe right now, not quite knowing what it was. Got to keep pressing on. We got 40% battery. Let's go find the juncture of this construction grade rail bed we've been walking on and the relocated U&D. We were just standing over there. There's of course the end wall that's up. We came to this end and your buddy just said, Russ, you got to see this. I love finding these, but I get terribly petrified finding these without covers on them for animals and humans. This is a dry laid, hand dug stone wall, a stone well. It's only about 6 feet down to the bottom, and by bottom I mean sediment, leaves, dirt. So a grown adult could climb out of that. A small animal, maybe, but it's right here, just off the wall, right there. Woohoo! We have yet more Austin finds. Look at that guy. Perhaps my favorite. Anybody know what that is? That's a journal, a brake journal lid. You would flip it up and check inside the journals and close it back down. There would have been another hole like this over here. Stone splitting spike. Austin's got his little finds all over the place. You ready to give up yet?
I think we're about there. We hit rock bottom.
Okay. Here's another hand dug, dry laid stone well for the home site that's right behind us. We're almost to the end. The trail's right up there. We got 30% left. Let's go. This is about 4 feet around, hand laid, dry laid, before the turn of the century. Right now down to the bottom, and somebody put branches down in there so if a small animal does fall, that's why they do that. They can climb up, a raccoon or a possum or a chipmunk or a squirrel. It could save their life. Beautiful. So careful, and reminder to everybody to be always looking down when you're walking in the woods, because if you fall in there, you'll not only get hurt, you'll get hurt. This is the foundation of the house or structure Where Austin is standing is right next to the well we just filmed. So this is a concrete post. Signifies state land, a city land, DEP. This is the fence right here. Austin is standing on.
This is the grade?
Construction grade that we walked in on.
You can tell because there's kind of like a ditchway right here, but you can see where the crest of the grade is right in here.
Right here. Right there is Ashokan Rail Trail or UND realignment. And we're going to walk out based on this gradient right here. We're going to walk out onto the Ashokan Rail Trail and pick about the spot where the construction grade junctures with the realigned UND. We got about 20% left. All right, we are on the Ashokan Rail Trail. Shh, don't tell anybody that Russ is on a rail trail. Austin, sworn to secrecy. That's looking west toward Boyceville.
Correct.
That overhead wooden archway there, Austin says, goes over swamp. Maybe we'll go down and check that out. But more importantly, right in here is where the construction gradient would have junctured off of and aligned with this realigned UND. I know I'm throwing a lot at you, but I think, no, I don't think. I know you guys are following along.
If you follow along on a map, you'll see exactly where we go as far as like a GPS tracker.
Yeah.
You'll see that where we walk will align with, you know, whatever line that you draw, but this will connect right up with the Ashokan Trail.
Yes.
From the grade.
Like he said. We got a human up there and a feline. Nope, it's a canine. It's a dog. A human and a dog. Hey folks, you know me, I love my pooches. This is Amanda.
Hello, puppers.
Come here, Amanda. Hello, sweetie. Hi, sweetie. Hi, sweetie. You and mommy getting some exercise today? Yeah.
Takes me out, makes sure I do my walking.
Oh, hi, sweetie. Hi, sweetie. Yeah. Oh, my little puppy's gonna be jealous when I go home and she smells her. Yeah. But it's worth it.
Hello, puppers.
It makes her very happy, so we appreciate it.
Nice. But anyway, Austin, in his infinite Austinism, said, hey Russ, you up for a little walk? It's only a little bit further. There's a signal base up here. We have to see it. Okay, see those holes? That's not like a little smiley face looking at us. Those are spike holes. Spikaroo, spikaroo. This is a railroad tie. This is a very old railroad tie that more than likely came not from the Ulster and Delaware Realignment, but from this. And this is the continuation of the construction bed that we've been following. Austin says, just a little further. Right up here is the block signal.
In reality, it does end just right up there by where the signal base is.
So, let's go. You guys like Amanda? She's a cutie. Construction grade. Signal base. Right here on the realigned UND. Down there, west. Down here, east. Let's see where we are, kids. We are at milepost 16 and a half. That's 16 and a half miles to Kingston, eastbound. So right here would have been the block signal that would have given the semaphore lighting to proceed to the westbounds. All right, it is now officially almost sunset. We've got upwards of darn near 2 miles to walk through the brush, carrying our metal detectors, which we still need to go find because we put them down somewhere.
We know exactly where they're at. We just gotta go get them.
They know exactly where they are. We have to find them.
Yes.
We almost need a metal detector to find our metal detectors.
Metal detector for a metal detector.
Yeah. So I have about 15% left on this battery. This is part 2 of Austin's, although we didn't really show very much of the water.
We did not.
But it's very importantly tied into the Ashokan Reservoir. We walked the whole entire, from the water to the block signal tower, where it shot off of the UND, realigned, and went into the reservoir to carry supplies such as, let's rapid fire, lumber,
Coal,
iron,
ores of different types,
supplies for general stores,
stone,
humans,
and possibly meat, animals,
yes,
dairy.
yes, food, supplies, supplies. That falls under supplies.
Correct?
Yes. We're rambling, folks, but it's late. We just had a rough day. I've got a broken finger under there. The nail's ready to come off. I got a hurt kneecap, but we'll make it.
We're pressing on.
Thanks for watching this one, guys. We'll be back with another one soon. The sea of boats. Just wanted to give you one last parting shot. We just walked let's go with a 1.5 miles-ish.
Mile and a half.
Through the brush and brambles in the rail trail, and then onto the construction grade. And we're back almost to the end. Beekman is literally right up there. But we wanted to give you a little bit of a better shot than the first video we did. First video we did of this same, within a couple feet of each other. There's that log that I pointed out in the last video. It's a beautiful, crisp, clear, late November day in 2025. And the last time we were here, for the very first video we did, we had an impending doom and gloom.
A visible storm.
We could see the wall of rain coming, and we made it out in time. But anyway, that's the Esopus Valley, aka the Ashokan Reservoir, and the original hamlets of Broadheads Bridge and Boyceville and Ashton and Olive Branch, and they list an Olive City, which I've never heard of, but I am taking their word for it. It was out there. Homes, lives, farms, businesses, schools, graveyards, all gone for potable drinking water for the Big Apple. All right. For me and that guy there, Austin, ciao for now.